and I'll show you
This
what it looks
looks
like and why it is so brilliant. And by the way, it says Badenhorst and Cranier, but I can promise you Badenhorst wrote this all on his own. I was just his supervisor, so I get to slap my name on the second one. So he's looking at towards a common understanding the value of e-learning implementations on higher education. It doesn't matter what yours is going to be called, but the one you need to look at that's interesting here is towards, because it means you're not going to have a final answer at the end. You're just going to get closer to it. So that's a nice thing to remember. And then the value, what you need here is, it's not necessarily a common understanding, but it's what you're wanting to say here is you're trying to find out a comparative study or a synthesis of the various models that you're looking for, I'd say. So let me just show you what he does. He starts with saying, in education, there are three things. So he's working in education. You're going to work in artificial intelligence for auto self-driving cars. You're going to find what are the three things or the four things or the whatever many things that you're looking to optimize. And he's saying in education, here are the three things we need to optimize: quality, access, and cost. Quality means how many students pass. Access means how many students are allowed to come into your university. And cost means how much do they pay to get there. So you've got those three things. Now, if you want to increase the number of students who pass, it's either going to cost you more or you're going to have to reduce the number of students that you take in. If you're going to increase the number of students that you take in, it's either going to cost you more or more students will fail. So these three things are always in disbalance. And so you can have either of these three. There are the three permutations that you're trying to balance as. So that is his problem statement. How do I use e-learning to balance these three things? And so you need to say to yourself, your problem statement is, what model or combination of models do you use to balance what? So you need to ask yourself, firstly, what is it that you're trying to balance? And then ask yourself, what are the three things or lies? Then you say to yourself, okay, so these are the three things I want to balance. Then you say to yourself, so what are the tools or combination of tools that I have available so that I can balance this? And so he says, right, so when I look at the tools that are available, there are, let me see. I think he said there are 6 models that he's going to look at. I can't remember, but we'll see them now. So then he says, okay, if we're going to do our benchmarking, there are a couple of models. There's EMM, and this is what EMM says. Then there is 6 dimensions model, and that's what it looks like. Then there's the hexagonal model of Kushner. Then there's ACCODE. Then there's pick and mix. Then there's dot learn. And now what he says is, so there's this one, and then he says, but wait a minute, they've got a lot in common and they differ a whole lot. So let's have a look. Here are the ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 that I have just described above. And let's look at their characteristics. This one has institutional policy, planning, information, etc., etc. So let me now go and color code various things. Institutional policy, governance, technology supported, organizational strategy, leadership, and institutional all essentially mean the same thing. It's got everything to do with the company and the policy. So anything that's got to do with company, policy, strategy, I'm going to make green. Anything that's got to do with learning and development, I'm going to make brown. So this has got learning, development, course, quality, content, pedagogy, support, pedagogical. So all that is going to be brown. Anything to do with support, structure, coordination, service quality, evaluation, and management is going to be blue. And so he carries on and he color codes in across all these models. He looks at everything that is more or less the same and he color codes them. And then he says, right, now let me give one word for yellow, one word for red, one word for, And so I'm going to use yellow for the yellow things I'm going to call student, the red things I'm going to call instructor, the orange things learning, the blue things support, those ones technology, and that one institution. And then I'm going to just put them together. And then I'm finally going to say to you, so look, these are the things. Some of these models don't have them. Some of these models have too many of them, but not a single model other than mine has all of them individually. So this is a synthesis of everything that there is. And that I'm going to use as a lens, although what he's drawn is an iris, not a lens.
Yeah.
But I'm going to use this as a lens. And there are my dimensions. So there's the student dimension, the instructor dimension, the learning dimension, the support dimension. That's what all of them are. And what I'm going to do with them is I'm going to say, right, those are the three things I want to balance. And those are the dimensions across which I'm going to balance them. And so I'm going to have interviews with students. And I'm going to ask them, how would you rate this? 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. Which is the most important for you in this? Then I'm going to ask students about instruction, all this. Then I'm going to go to educational technology managers, and I'm going to ask them to rank this as 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I'm going to ask university vice chancellors to rank these dimensions, to say, how do you want to rank these? And then finally, I'll come with a synthesis and say, what is the ideal pattern that we want to use if we want to implement computers? Because once I then add this up, that up, that up, then I will know exactly what my triangle should look like.